Well, for more on this, I want to bring in David Nichols from Nichols Wealth Management. The stock is down about 1%, David, and the implications may be bigger with respect to elections and things like that, but it is frightening in its age where a lot of people are concerned. What does it mean, though, for tech or for the markets?
Yeah, I think overall we just have to understand the same security and privacy protections that are offered to U.S. citizens. I mean, those just aren't offered really to the rest of the world. And what the European courts did in regards to the privacy shield being removed is essentially said, look, if you're a U.S. company and you're under investigation by FISA 702, which is the international surveillance, if you're under surveillance, all data, all information transfers has to stop. So, of course, this affects a company like Facebook, who depends on large amounts of data to market to EU citizens. So, I think it's going to impact that. But I think we just also have to understand, if we're signing up for an app like Facebook or a European is, you're exchanging your data and your information for use of their site. So I think it's something we all have to understand.
Right.
But the same type of thing is happening across other channels.
It is. It's ironic you bring up EU because, you have the European Union, which is essentially almost at war with American tech companies, and they probably got a little bit more upset after Apple won that major ruling this week. They didn't have to pay up to $15 billion in back taxes to Ireland. But again, it puts us in this awkward position. So you're a tech investor. If you are a tech investor, what degree of risk does any of this pose to your investment, if any at all?
Yeah, I think that the risk is relatively muted, Charles, especially for a company like Facebook. But I mean, with these risks come opportunity. If you remember what happened with TikTok recently, India banned TikTok for, a similar privacy security concern. Facebook went in to try to take market share from a company like TikTok. So I think companies just need to be agile. They need to be ready and willing to adapt to the situation. But I do think we're going to need some type of global framework when companies are going cross Atlantic and using citizens' information. We're going to have some level playing field going forward.
Let's talk about the approach to investing in these stocks, right? Because, I always talk about the difference between chasing fundamentals and chasing performance. I feel like Wall Street continues to chase fundamentals, and they keep missing it. Just to give you an example today, we saw several big tech or communication services names get upgrades again, higher share price targets. Now, the flip side of that, of course, is that you had a name like Spotify, which was down. It got 3 downgrades in the last 2 weeks. The stock was under some pressure this morning, and then they announced that Michelle Obama's podcast will go live sometime this month. That stock is higher. I mean, so when you're an investor, you need to know what's happening with these companies, not just that they're hot stocks, right?
Absolutely. And I also think you need to know what to look for on the balance sheet, because a lot of times we look at tech relative to some value names and we say, oh my gosh, tech is overvalued. I want to go with a value name. But when you look at some of these tech companies and you peel back the surface and you realize some of these companies are sitting on so much cash, and when you remove that cash out, these shares actually look quite reasonably priced. So I still think, yes, Charles, you're correct. We want to know what is underlying with the legality and regulation of these companies. But I think the balance sheets of these tech companies are strong. They're going to find ways to drive growth, and that's going to show up in the stock price.
Finally, on the technical side, at 32.32 on the S&P, we cracked it twice. Intraday came down hard each time. I mean, we have to break out at some point, or we're going to pull back. What are your thoughts on the technical side of this market?
Yeah, I mean, technically speaking, right, the S&P has been fueled by this tech run. So, I don't think value is going to get us to that next leg up, but we want to see some participation. Charles, you mentioned it earlier. If we can see value and growth working at the same time, that's going to break us past this 3,200 level. Yeah, we could trade down to 3,100. I wouldn't be concerned about that. This is just short-term noise, in my opinion.
Yeah. At some point, the breakout's going to be huge. David, thank you very much. We went through a lot. We covered a lot.